I'm Jim, and this video is going to be about common beginner issues that I've experienced. So, a lot of these are things that I've experienced myself, but also over the last few years, I've come across quite a few different projects, and these are also some things that I see in a lot of other people's projects as well. So, hopefully, you learned something from this video. And let's get to the first one. Overuse of event tick. So this is actually a big one. I think people see the event tick and they just think I'll throw everything on there and everything will just get processed and I won't have to worry about it. Now, the problem with this is that putting something on the event tick means that whatever functionality you put there is going to fire every single frame. Now, you can change it within a class to lower the tick rate, but generally you don't want something ticking constantly. What we want to do is fire functions when we need them. And the problem here is that having lots of functionality on the event tick can actually really cause reduction in your performance of your game. So we want to keep as many things off of there as possible. It's not that you need to have nothing on there, but really you need to use it sparingly. So some tips on how to reduce your use of event tick. We can use timers. We can use retriggerable delays, which I'll show you both of those. And then in a pinch, you can also reduce the tick interval. So a common place where I see people using event tick is that they will have some type of health regeneration function so that every frame that their health is not full, it's just going to constantly tick up. So what I've done here is I've set up a widget that just shows the health and the text of the health. And we're going to add that to viewport. I've created a health component, which is what we're going to use to track health. There's a function in there called refill health, which will just set it to the max health right at the beginning of begin play. And then in our event tick here, we have one function called can fill health. And really all this is doing is seeing if the current health is less than the maximum health. And if it is, then we can fill. And then if we can fill, then we're going to take our current health and we're going to increment it. And we're going to do this every frame with the tick. And the last bit of setup that I just want to show is that I have this damage volume in my scene. It's this big red box. And when we overlap it, we're going to do damage. It's going to do 100 damage, which actually is the amount of health that our character can have. So when we are dealt damage, we're just going to decrease our current health by that amount. And then our event tick is going to fill it back up. So let me just show a quick demo of how this works. So here we are. We can see that we have 100 health, which is our max health. And when we go into this, it drops it down to 0. And then it will fill back up. And I can do it again. And again. Now, there's a few problems with this. One is that we can control the tick rate. So we can go to our class settings. We can set our tick interval. So when it's set to 0 here, that just means fire every frame. Let's do 0.2. So we're going to fire 5 times per second. And we can see when we do this, it is slowed down drastically, but the problem is we still don't really have any control over it. So let's say, for instance, we want to have some type of delay. So after you get damaged, then there may be a delay until the health starts to fill up again. Well, in this, it's going to get pretty messy because we're going to have to create probably a boolean that says recently damaged, and then how do we turn that off? So it's going to get messy real quick. So even though we've reduced the interval, we still need some extra functionality here to get control over it. So here what I've done is I've actually just disconnected that from the event tick, and I created a new custom event called refill health that uses the same bool to see if we can refill the health. And then I'm doing a set timer by function name. And the function that we're going to use is called increment health, which I have here. And basically, again, it's going to check, can we fill health? If we can, then we're going to increment that health like we were doing before. If we can't, then we're going to clear the timer. And one thing to note, we just need to make sure that we're calling our event on damage. So after we're damaged, it's going to check, can we fill the health? And then it will start to fill. Here we are back in our scene, and I'm going to hit the volume, and we can see that it has the exact same functionality. And when we get to 100, the timer should clear because then our health is full and we no longer need to fill it. And we saw the little debug message there that said timer cleared. So the benefit of it doing it this way is that then we have much more control over